Hello and welcome to this episode. In this episode, I want to start a first tutorial of a new series about large language models. Let's first talk about what is LLM. A large language model, or LLM, is a type of AI that trained to understand and generate human-like text. I'm pretty sure you have used different large language models like ChatGPT, like Claude or Llama. You write a prompt in a text format, and the LLM as a response will generate a human-like text. This is how it actually works. We call them large language models. And the reason is that these models trained on a huge amount of data, huge amounts of text data like books, articles, websites, and billions of words. But the very first question is how LLMs work. So if I want to answer this question, I will give you a very simple example. Imagine that as a human, I tell you that I'm sick and I need to visit a. If I ask you to complete this sentence, um, you know, you will choose the word doctor because when you're sick, you need to visit a doctor. If you ask this question from an LLM and ask it to complete this sentence, the LLM will say the same thing. It will tell you that you need to visit a doctor. But how? Well, as I said, LLMs trained and have seen a lot of documents, like medical documents and medical texts. And they have a mechanism to calculate the probabilities of different words in a sentence. They use probabilities based on the patterns that they learned from real human language. If you give this sentence to the LLM and ask the LLM to complete this sentence, the LLM will look at all the words in the sentence. I am sick. I need to visit a. So it will look at all these words, but it won't pay attention to all the words equally. So the model has a mechanism to weigh the importance of each word. In this sentence, sick has the highest influence because it gives the like a medical context. It tells you that this person is sick, and when someone is sick, that person needs to visit a doctor. The word need implies an urgency or a demand. The word visit signals an action that involving a person or a place. So LLM will look at all these words and based on their importance, it will calculate the probabilities of different words that can fill this sentence. You can see some of these words and their corresponding probabilities in this slide. You can see that doctor has the highest probability, hospital, pharmacy. But when someone is sick, it's unlikely that the person will visit a teacher or a vet. So, you know, like humans, based on the probabilities of different words, LLMs can choose a reasonable answer. So till now, we understand that large language models have trained on a lot of data, have seen lots of documents, websites on the internet, data on the internet, and they can look at all the words. They have a mechanism that to look at all the words in a sentence and based on the importance of each word, they can calculate the probabilities of different words and choose the most probable and reasonable answer to generate text. So they are good at text generation. But there are also some tasks that they are not good at. It's really important to know the LLM's restriction because this way you can help the LLM to generate more reasonable answers. The first thing is that LLMs are not good at reasoning or true understanding. They cannot analyze a problem step by step, and they cannot like use a logic to answer or understand a problem. The second restriction is that they may create a response with a high confidence, even if the response is wrong. The third restriction is that usually LLMs have a short-term memory. What we mean here is that if you write a very long prompt and if you ask the LLM a very long question, it may forget, some part of your text, or if it, for example, writes and generates multiple paragraphs, it may forget what it said in the first paragraph. So this is why we call them they have a short-term memory. And the last thing is that they are not good at math or logic. So LLMs are not calculators. They have syntax, they can generate text based on probabilities and the data they have seen. So they cannot understand math, and sometimes if you use them as calculators, they may create a wrong answer. But you know, there recently LLMs use some techniques to address this issue. For example, they can when you ask a question that is related to math, what they do usually is that they create and write a code and to solve your math problem, and they get the response, they run the code, they get the response in the background and show you the final answer. So this is how LLM works, and these are the tasks that LLMs are good at or not good at. In the next episode, I want to talk about different types of LLMs and how we can use them. I hope that this video was useful for you, and thanks for your attention.